Welcome to Through the Looking Glass. Today's episode, we're just going to be going with the flow again. But before we go with that flow, as always, I'm going to hand it on over to Russ.
Hello, and welcome everybody back to Through the Looking Glass podcast. Thank you for joining us, as always. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, introduce your friends to us, help us get out there a little bit more, and join the conversation with us, or just listen to us babble about bullshit. Either way.
Yeah, we need another guest.
Yeah. It's hard to actually find people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that actually don't like to be on camera. It's very strange.
That is true.
Yeah.
Until they do it for the first time. It's kind of like a tattoo. Once you get one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
and after a minute, you just kind of forget the cameras are there, and you're having conversations with people.
I had asked a guy that I bowl with if he wanted to come on and talk about what he does for the Elmira River Sharks, but was not interested in talking on camera. So
Yeah.
Is he a wanted felon?
No, he's not a wanted felon.
Some people just don't want to be
Yeah.
involved with it.
I just think the job might stress him out a little bit, and talking about it probably stress him out even more.
You said the Elmira what? Shark?
The River Sharks, the hockey team, used to be the Jackals, and then it was the Enforcers, and
There might be some legal stuff behind
That's
that.
another one now? They're still going?
yeah, they're the Elmira River Sharks now.
I don't like that.
Yeah, we don't have any sharks in our river.
Yeah, what is a river shark?
It's like a shark that lives in a river, and we don't have
Do
those.
those exist?
I don't know.
That sounds
Google
like
it.
one of those suction cup puppies you put in a fish tank.
Let's find out if river sharks exist.
Oh, here we
I
go.
wonder if it's a term for something.
Yeah, not too much to talk. I mean, there's a bunch of small topics.
I mean, yeah,
I'm sure.
I got some stuff.
Yeah.
The glyphis, the true freshwater sharks found in fresh and brackish water in Asia and Australia.
Oh, so not a thing here.
The bull,
Yeah.
the bull shark, Carcharhinus lucas, which can swim between salt and freshwater and are found in tropical rivers around the world.
So basically not a thing.
Not around here, not in America at all, it seems like.
South America,
It's
maybe.
like one thing in one part of the world, barely.
Yeah. Well, does New York have jackals either? So
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
still,
but that's
it was
an
still-
animal people have heard of.
It was still a cooler name.
Yeah, jackal. Yeah, that's a cool name.
I guess.
River Shark sounds like it's an elementary school like
Something
sports
safe.
team. Yeah.
I wonder if they play Baby Shark as their introduction.
I sure would.
That'd be hilarious.
Baby Shark, do 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 do.
River shark, do 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 do.
Oh man.
So explain to us what you were just talking about with Texas and their internet law.
Oh yeah. I think the other state, the first state that did it, I believe, was
Yeah, let's
Mississippi.
Google it real quick.
Yeah. You'll be faster with it. Texas is introducing a bill where they're going to require online pornography sites to require identification for anybody that goes onto the website. The bill is a little loose-tongued because they don't want it to affect like all social medias. So it's something in the bill says if like 30% or more of your content is pornographic based, that you will require your users to give a photo ID, which
Louisiana.
So that's
Is that what- oh, nice.
Yeah, I said
Alabama.
Alabama. I'm for that. It does kind of sound like it's going down the road that Nikki Haley was talking about, where requiring identification. I can see the argument for that, but at the same time, it falls under the current laws in the United States. Like, we have a porn store here in Elmira.
Yeah, you can't walk in there if you're
Yeah,
17
so
or
a
younger.
child can't just go in. They're by law required to have the windows blacked out so you can't see in. Magazines have to be covered and things like that. So why wouldn't those laws apply to online? The libertarian in me believes that's kind of an infringement on people's rights, but children should not be exposed to such content, so it needs to be regulated. one of the statistics that came up about with Louisiana, when Louisiana passed the law, Cornhub, the main website there, they saw like an 80% decrease in traffic from that state.
Jesus.
So it worked. And
That
it would
suggests-
also suggest that a lot
that
of
suggests that
kids
most
are
of their
watching.
users are under the age of 18.
I would say,
Well, some people probably
Half-
just don't want to go through the hassle of
Yes.
doing it.
so I was going to say
But-
probably 50%
Minimum.
of that 80% is kids.
I would say
Still
closer to
a lot.
75, but
It's still a lot.
Yeah.
So I think these are laws that should be passed throughout the entire country. Yeah, kids
Yeah,
should
yeah.
not have access
No.
to these sites. But again, as our government do, because government do, I could see them abusing that power in their own manipulative way, where it's like, okay, so you guys are okay with using us requiring ID to go on websites? Well, now you got to use an ID to literally go on any website. So I could see them abusing it, but this is something that definitely needs to happen. Kids should not have access to that. I've seen stories of kids, not kids, but adults saying that they were exposed to pornographic material when they were kids, and it's still messed with them. Like they remember it.
and
That's traumatic.
I
That-
assume they're going to need ID for things like Instagram and stuff like that. Is it Instagram that allows nudity?
Instagram allows a lot, but so does Twitter.
Yeah.
But
So are
with
they-
Texas, the bill proposed states if 30% or more of the content on your site is this material, then you will require it. But Instagram itself, I believe in their user agreement, you have to agree to being 18 anyways.
So-
You should have to be 18 for all social
So
media.
sites are just going to get around that by uploading so many videos that aren't of that aren't going to be pushed in the algorithm that
Maybe
it's not going to. They're just going to find a loophole. It should be
they
if
might.
any of the content is adult, they shouldn't be allowed. Because when you put the numbers into it, they're going to find ways around it.
That's true. But even mistakenly, there is pornographic material on YouTube.
Yes, but that's taken down. It's not supposed to be there, and it gets taken down
Right,
usually
it's not
within the hour or two.
Allowed. It's not allowed.
Yes, yeah, it's not allowed.
Yeah, so if in the terms and agreements or user agreements of the social media sites, if it explicitly says this content is not allowed, but Facebook gets around that by saying if it's artistic expression. So you could have an AI generated photo of an anime character topless, but because it's art, it's allowed on Facebook.
Speaking of AI generation, there's actually a new program that takes pictures of either naked or like half naked women and fully clothes them.
Based.
I kind of like it.
Based.
Like it actually puts some nice outfits on them too. Like, man, y'all would look much better all dressed up nicely.
Isn't that in response to the other program? Wasn't there a scandal a couple months ago
Where
where
you could
it
take
was stripping
The
clothing
celebrities'
off of women?
faces and basically putting it on like a porn star's body.
No, they were just taking photos of women, like in their day-to-day clothes, and it would strip the clothing away and fabricate what their body would look like. That was a big thing on Twitch. I think a Twitch streamer got banned because he was doing that to other Twitch streamers.
It was a thing where
Yeah.
the Twitch streamer's face was on like in a porn video where it like
Yeah.
AI'd her face
Yeah, I seen
into the
that.
porn star's face.
Yep.
But it wasn't actually her in the video.
Yeah, I heard another one where they
I
were
think
just-
something like that should probably be illegal.
Yes. That's from what I remember with the Twitch thing, it was an AI algorithm that was stripping clothing off of people, and a streamer was doing it to another streamer. That female streamer found out and was like bawling her eyes out. She was like, it's not my body, but it's still people seeing me naked.
Mhm.
You know, it's not really my body, but it's still it's so
It's
accurate.
it's the same
so
effect,
close.
yeah.
Yeah.
That and people on the internet at this point don't know how to distinguish AI generated images and videos. Like there was a post a
It's
couple
so
days ago that I saw these two kids like sleeping in a mud-filled tent, and the person was like, "Oh, nobody in the world should have to deal with this." And I zoomed in on the foot, and the foot was all like wide with 6 toes, and I'm like, okay, this is an AI generated image.
Yeah, they still can't do hands and feet that
Yeah,
well.
people are falling for it this badly now. In 5 more years, like this is my worry with AI, is they're going to be able to make President Putin look like he's doing or saying anything, or Xi Jinping of China. It's going to be used for so much propaganda the way it's already fooling people.
Yeah.
Speaking of unlivable conditions, I watched the new Tyler video.
In New York City?
New York City.
That's terrible what's going on down there.
What's happening?
All the immigrants in New York City living on the streets because they've got no room for them.
it's
They're
in the hotels. and
Hundreds
everything?
of thousands.
Here's some information I actually found was, what's his name, Mayor Adams.
Adams, yeah.
Eric Adams.
Back in 2021, I believe it was, guess who gave him a bunch of campaign money?
I'm gonna say starts with a C, ends with Inton.
Nope.
No. Wow.
It was these hotel lobbies.
Hmm.
And now what are they doing? They're filling these hotels up with immigrants, and the taxpayers are footing the bill. So now these hotels are getting fucking rich.
I was gonna say
We'll
why-
give you $1 million in campaign funds, but you
Mhm.
have to find a way. And
Yeah.
this is
I can't
it.
remember the name of the exact lobby, but it had to do with like hotel corporations in the area. So they fund him and his campaign, and now they're getting rich by housing immigrants.
Yeah, on our bill.
Mm-hmm.
It's playing God with our money. It's wild. It's like money doesn't actually exist to these people, but they know the power that it has.
Yeah.
over
Yeah,
people
it's
that
another-
don't have it.
That's just another one of the reasons on the long list of why he's allowing everybody into the country.
Well, at first he was all open arms about it. Like, yeah, bring them up here. And now there's so many. He's like, oh my God, we can't
He
deal with
realized
this. I don't know
the
what to
mistake he
do.
made.
Have
Even
either-
Holchel.
Have either of you
Holchel.
guys filed taxes this year?
I haven't even
I
gotten
still
my
haven't.
papers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of posts on Facebook, people talking about don't expect much back from your taxes this year or expect to owe the government.
Yeah, I've seen that too because of
I-
something
Yeah.
Trump signed in a couple of years ago. But I've seen a couple people are like, no, I got more back this year than I have a lot of other years.
I know personally I'm not going to get anything back because of New York State. They did something and they haven't allowed me to fight their ruling. So typically every year I do get about 11 to 1200 back. This year I won't see a cent. So that's going to be fun.
That's sad.
So
Yeah.
why even file?
I mean, for one, I legally have to. So
I
That,
went
and
years
I
without
don't-
filing a tax return.
right, I don't want
I did
them.
a couple too, and
I don't want them to come
Long
back
time
in
ago.
like 5 or 6 years and be like, "Hey, you remember that
Yeah.
1 year you didn't file?" Especially if, with my hopes of this podcast taking off someday and possibly earning us wages,
yeah,
they
that's
would
true.
use that against me and the company that we build here. So I don't want to give them any kind
That
of
is
reason
true,
to
yeah.
audit and then.
I mean,
say,
well,
"Oh,
they
you
would
owe us."
find a reason anyway.
True, especially since they hired
But yeah, you don't
80,000.
Don't want to make it easy.
Yeah. But I don't know. I always liked not following the rules, but I try to be a lawful citizen as much as possible.
This coffee tastes like scrotum.
You know what that tastes like, huh?
Tastes like scrotum, and then he goes to take another sip.
I have to finish it.
Not if it tastes like scrotum, unless you like the taste of scrotum.
I don't waste anything.
That is true. You know.
No scrotum gone to waste.
Yeah, anything falls out of the oven at work, scoop it right up and eat it.
Oh man, that happened
Ain't
last.
throwing that away.
That happened last night. The chicken wing bin got dropped, and like 18 of them popped out onto the floor. Yeah,
Cook 'em.
yeah, we did. We did.
Oh, yeah.
We ate them.
Oh,
I would too.
absolutely.
We ate
Wings? Can't let them go.
Throw them through
Like
once.
$1 for DBs.
Throw them through once. Put some goop over them. Throw them through a second
Oh, yeah.
time. Maybe
Yeah.
even a third time, and then a little more goop and some hot sauce.
I've noticed
Yeah,
gooping the wings, you can cook them once. After that, all the oil from it like burns right off.
But
of
it's still
fresh
got like the
garlic
little
and everything.
garlic stuff
Mhm.
on it, which
Yeah.
is
yeah,
nice.
Spicy
Yeah.
garlic. Yeah,
Mhm.
we've done that a couple times.
Domino's messed up putting their garlic, their actual white garlic sauce on the wings for their garlic parm wings. They should have just done goop with
Yeah, that's
parm
what a lot of
cheese.
people
Garlic.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the oil in the goop is just so
Greasy.
It's so bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so bad. I could definitely. I used to do the. I used to mix minced garlic with the hot sauce cups because the hot sauce cups are better than the hot sauce,
Yeah.
and then I would cook them in that. It's so good.
Did you ever run them through the oven in a pan of oil, or just run them through the oven? That's how we
Done
made
that.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, fill a pan.
But you gotta
with
do
oil
like
and-
4 or 5 times
Yeah.
to actually get the oil bubbling a little bit. But yeah, we used to do. You have to
Yeah.
working in.
Well, no, you
fast
send
food.
the oil through once or twice, and then you put the wings in,
Oh, no, I would just.
or put it in the microwave.
I guess
Yeah.
I used to just put it in a pan, the wings in a pan, douse them in oil, pull them out,
Yeah.
flip them, put
They
them
were
back,
good.
put them back, put them back, put them back.
Free wings were nice.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten a wing in a while. I ain't
Well,
paying
they're all
for 'em.
so small now,
Ain't
and
paying
anywhere
for 'em.
you go,
No, elbow room still got some decent ones.
Yeah, I love living a couple blocks from the elbow room.
Mhm.
but it's so
Nice.
expensive now, isn't it? Like a
It's
dozen
not
of
too.
wings,
It's not too bad. It's still under $20, and they give you, I think, 15 wings instead of 12.
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah, wings are about
$1
bare
a
minimum.
wing.
Bare minimum $1
Dollar
a wing.
I mean, ours
Why?
without any coupons are $9.99 for an 8-piece.
Yeah.
16 pieces,
Yeah, a buck and a
$15.99.
Yeah.
And I'd
insane.
rather pay the $15.99 for a 15-piece at Elbow Room than for a 16-piece at Domino's.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
For sure.
Because the quality of wings Domino's gets they're inedible almost.
It drives it. I won't say it drives me crazy, but it boggles my mind. We got someone that lives like way out in the tip of West Elmira that will order an 8-piece wing, 2 blue cheese dip cups, and sometimes get a soda, but sometimes not. Just the 2 dip cups. The wings.
$16, $17?
After
yikes.
delivery, tax, and his $3 tip, he's usually paying like $23
Yeah.
for 8 wings. That's crazy.
That's not a meal. How?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe other places just won't deliver to them. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, we down at this store, we've had a couple that have been problematic for a long time, every single time. So,
but at that point, you're paying $23 for
I would never.
3/4 of a dozen of nearly inedible
Yeah,
wings.
I would never.
There's something wrong with your brain at that point.
You don't understand the concept of money.
Yeah.
Like, quite simply.
Yeah, you probably are on like Section 8 or something like that. You know,
The only way Domino's wings become remotely edible is thrown through the oven like 3 times so they
Yeah.
get a little crispy.
Yeah.
At that point, with buying wings from Domino's, even if you're like, oh, I don't want to cook anything or go to the store, you can do one of the Instacart things where, okay, I'm going to order Tops Instacart and they have frozen wings,
Yeah,
and then
just
I'm
throw 'em
going
in
to
the
throw them in the oven.
Yep. Because you're
What? Like,
Yeah.
for the same price,
because
you're
you're not
triple the
waiting
amount
that
of
much
wings.
longer. What, 45 minutes in the oven compared to bare minimum 30 minutes for delivery?
It's wild.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like I don't eat out. If anything, I'll go to McDonald's, get a burrito for
Yeah.
$1.50. Like that's it. Now I use a coupon. If I get iced coffee, $1.07.
Nice.
Ain't no way I'm going to Dunkin' for.
You've always been very
$4.
stringent with your money, though.
Yeah.
So that's worked out for you. I've been kind of blasé with mine.
Yeah, I've slacked on it a little bit, but there's some real coupon clippers.
Oh yeah, I've seen people spend their it's like a full-time job from what I've seen people
Mhm.
do, and
You'll see
they
them
get
post
items
online.
for free,
Yeah,
and then they resell them. And
yeah. They'll
makes
put
it
them on
worth it.
Facebook and be like, "Hey, $10 for this laundry detergent when
Yeah.
you be spending 16 because they get it for $1 or something."
Totally
or the
worth
store
it.
ends up owing them money.
Facebook Marketplace is wild. You got people on there trying to sell heavily used items for the same retail price it was brand new.
Mhm.
People are crazy.
And then you offer them the real item's value. They're like, I know what I got. No, you don't.
Okay,
Like,
good luck.
I can see piss stains on that right there. Like, that's garbage. You're trying to sell garbage for retail. Got these fresh 1997 Jordans, and they don't even got soles on them anymore. It's like $500. I know what I got. No, you don't. You don't. You don't know nothing.
Yeah, people don't pay any mind to condition. They just think because they have an item and one of those items wants for that price, they can get that or near that.
Some people just don't know.
Not today.
Or they're just
Junior.
waiting for the person to actually accept the offer.
Yeah,
So-
they may be trying to take advantage of someone who is stupid.
Very
And it's
possible.
unfortunate.
So have you guys seen what's going on in California?
Oh boy.
Oh, the weather?
Yeah, the
I
state
did
of
have
the
that
state
written
of
down.
emergency.
Something to talk about. I was like, maybe it's
They've gotten like half a year's worth of rain in like just a couple days. There's flooding, there's mudslides.
yeah. Since
They've
it was
had-
Heard a
videos
little
today.
bit about
They've
it.
had wind gusts hitting like 150, 160 miles an hour.
Shit.
Yeah, what, 1 million people lost power?
Let me see if I can find that
I think
on
that's
here.
what
If it's,
CNN was.
Well, hopefully all
Saying.
that excess water keeps the forest fire season down this year.
Yeah, it will
possible.
The ground will be saturated for a while.
Might help. Might help. Be good. It'd be nice if California didn't have such a horrible summer. Doesn't get bad
downtown Los Angeles has gotten 5.48 inches. Bel Air has gotten 9.25 inches. Pasadena 4.33.
Well, at least Los Angeles streets will be clean for once.
Topanga
I mean,
seems
you
to
know-
more
have taken the cake. Topanga has 9.94 inches.
Wait, Topanga is a place?
Yeah.
Wow, I thought
Topanga.
that was just a character on a show.
Yep,
Topanga.
it's both.
Oh,
I
shit.
wonder how many people are named that.
You know, California has the ability to clean up its streets.
Oh, yeah.
There was an
They
episode of
did
Joe
it for
Rogan.
Xi Jinping.
Yeah, in San Francisco. Like, the homeless people just disappeared when he came. Like, what'd they do? Like, I want to know what they did with all
They
of
probably
them.
just took
Where'd
the
they,
hoses out and was like, just
No, they
or did they put them on buses and ship them to other places?
no, they pushed them out of that part of town. So what they probably did is there was a specific route for security purposes, right, where Xi Jinping would travel down,
and they
in a-
blocked
in a
off everything
motorcade.
else in the area.
Yeah, and then they
And
just
then,
pushed
yeah,
those
pushed them
people out of the
and-
area.
Yep.
Had sanitation come in, paid them overtime, did
Clean up all the
everything.
poop.
Their poop map, the app that they have for California, the poop map, it probably just had one clean streak. So it was brown, clean streak, brown.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, they would have to solve the root of the problem first to even be able to clean up. Because if they clean it up, it will just happen in a week again anyway.
Happens all over
There'd be
again.
no point. They'd have to solve the homelessness crisis first.
But they don't want to because there's
Which
a lot of money.
if they
in it.
weren't sending 70, you seen the stupid, what is it? $74 billion they want to send over to Ukraine and Israel.
Oh, again? More
Yeah.
money? Cool.
That's in the border. Biden, in order to help secure the border, he wants to send 74 billion over there.
Oh, so
Oh,
like,
yeah, makes sense. Send $74 billion to other countries, and that'll help secure our
60
border.
billion
it's like
for Ukraine.
holding a
Even
hostage.
Yeah.
It's not black. What was that called? Quid pro quo. He wants quid pro quo. So, I'll do this for you since
Yeah.
it's such a crisis that I created. I'll create the problem and then offer you a solution, but you have to give me
Yeah.
something in
Yep.
return for the problem. Bro,
Yeah,
that's
just-
like
It's
somebody
a
breaking into
scumbag
your
scammer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
somebody breaking into your store, starting a fire, and telling you, "I'll put it out for you if you give
Yeah.
me $100." That's insane. That's
That's actually a good way to make some money. I don't know why I haven't thought of that yet.
because it's illegal.
I'm gonna
It's
start
a
going around.
crime.
I'm gonna start going around to businesses and doing that.
Yeah, but
Hell
that's
yeah.
a problem.
Well, just accidentally
Make-
do it, and you happen to just
I'll
have
make
oh, and
a
you
truck
ignore
full
it
of
for-
fire extinguishers.
I'll make
Yeah.
$1,000
Be
a
like,
day.
ooh, you don't. Ooh, yeah, it's gonna be $200.
But at the
for a
same
fire
time,
extinguisher.
you have to ignore the problem for nearly 3 years while people are screaming about it.
Yeah, if
So-
you did that, the building would.
3 minutes. We'll
Burn.
reduce it to 3
Yeah.
minutes instead of years.
in an adequate time frame. I'm just saying, like this, what has been going. Joseph Biden is clearly committing crimes at this point. Like,
Yeah, and everybody knows it.
he is the leader of the executive branch and is doing
A phenomenal
not his job.
I think
Like-
he's doing a phenomenal job.
Well, that's why. What
I
was
mean,
it?
he hasn't done everything wrong. You know, there have been a few good things, but there's been a few good things in his infrastructure bill. But at the same time, there's just as much bad in it, like the extra money sending to Ukraine and for extracurricular stuff like the IRS. That was all in the infrastructure bill too.
Well, everything in the bills that I've heard, at least a couple scenarios, they didn't actually put it towards what they should have. Like the bridges, like what is it, bridges in PA? They actually didn't do anything. They got the money,
they haven't
but
done anything.
they
yet?
didn't do it, and it actually one of them fell down because they didn't fix it or something like that.
I'll have to look into
Yeah.
that a little bit more.
Well, the money
It
was
was a couple years
the
ago.
money was much better off in the pockets of crooked
Yeah.
politicians than it was into the infrastructure. So we bowl with the team on Thursdays in their jerseys, say "Let's go Brandon," and we bowled against them.
Nice.
We bowled
I'd
against
let
them
him win.
Yeah, I was just gonna say let him win.
a couple weeks ago.
You
We
deserve
bowled
it.
against them, and as we were warming up, I looked at them. I was like, "Take it, you guys are big Joe Biden fans," and they were like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, greatest president in history."
Yeah, most secure election of all time, and I just so this has been up for debate for a while, but now like the data is actually factually here, and we have the numbers for it. So in every single state, even democratically run strongholds, Donald Trump won the in-person ballots. In every single state, even Republican strongholds, Joe Biden won in a landslide the mail-in ballots.
Strange.
Something that has never happened before in the history of American votes.
This was the 2020.
This is the 2020 election. Joe Biden won the mail-ins. Donald Trump, by a landslide, won the in-person votes. Considering all the like loopholes and legal freeway there was with with the mail-in ballots,
How many mail-in ballots were there for
66 million.
Billions and billions
How?
and billions.
That doesn't make any sense.
So
That's like 1/3 of all votes,
Yeah.
or more.
66 million mail-in ballots were cast in the 2020 election.
I don't even
Which
think
is-
1/10 of that even knew you could do that.
I don't remember. I think it was like in previous elections, it was something like 12. It was either 2 or 12 million, where it was like the average.
Yeah.
So in 2020,
Yeah, I've heard it was
66,
5 times.
which I can see an inflation in numbers because of COVID. People were still scared during the election. They didn't want to mail in person, but 66 million.
Well, and it used to be for people that couldn't go,
Yes.
or people overseas.
Yeah, and a lot of states
Like you had
loosened
to
the
be
laws
disabled
for
or
it.
like a overseas, like a soldier or something.
And you weren't required to show identification. You simply just needed a signature. And we've seen a lot of evidence about signatures and how fucked up those are. So it's just, the narrative that's been going for years. And it's like
And addresses being
more
parking
and more.
lots.
Yeah. Oh, I love that when
Mhm.
Crowder did that.
Or an abandoned building that's been
Yeah.
run down for 20
Or
years.
underneath a highway.
Yeah.
Just all kinds
Oh,
of
yeah,
fun
underneath
stuff.
a bridge.
Yeah. And Dinesh D'Souza did his 2000 Mules, which was really, really good, where they did the GPS location,
Mhm.
where certain people were going back to the same box like over 100 times. Be like, this one person is dropping off that many ballots.
Yeah, and it's so wild that people will still say there's no evidence of. There is. It's
What do you think other countries are saying about the 2020 U.S. election? Like history books, I have seen this reported from German news. German classes right now, like grade school and stuff, are teaching their students about American propaganda. Why do you think? Why do
It's
you
because
think?
our propaganda is the best.
It
We're the best
is.
at everything.
Probably is. I mean, we do spend trillions of dollars on our military, and I'm sure propaganda is a wing of the military. Has to be.
It's got to be at this point. I'm sure we fund propaganda campaigns, not just in America, but abroad too. I'm sure just as other countries are, they have bot farms with fake social media accounts to share propaganda. I'm sure we do the same in their countries as well.
Or we pay the countries to do it for us. So, like,
That's possible.
I mean, we outsource everything in America. Like, you try to call customer service, you're getting somebody from a different country.
well,
So
95,
why
99% of the
won't
time.
like a social media company pay somebody pennies to the dollar to run a bot farm for their social media? Why not? Of course you would.
Like the silly propaganda that water is wet. I can't believe that. So silly.
We're
yeah, I
getting-
mean,
We're getting into that one of
it
these.
just doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay.
Water is just a liquid.
It is a liquid, and it has a property of wet, or
No.
no?
No.
A liquid
So-
has to saturate something for that thing
Yeah,
to
it
become
makes
wet.
things wet.
Yeah, it makes things wet.
So it itself is not wet.
How can something
Because wet is not a.
how can something give another something a property that it does not itself have? A stove has to be hot to burn you, right? You can't touch a cold stove and get burned. It has to be hot.
Yeah.
But a stove itself is not
Yeah,
hot
stove-
until you
it
do something
becomes
to
hot.
it to make it hot.
Yes. So the stove becomes hot.
we can't
it
just
emits
equate two
heat.
things.
Well,
You can't just say one thing is one thing, so that therefore that. So
Hey, don't bang
that's
on the
another thing.
table.
Sure, that's
Oops.
not a straw man, but it's like apples to oranges. But
Yeah.
if water is not wet, I don't see how it could give that property to another object. So again, with heat, but if we did cold, like something can't just become cold, something else has to affect the temperature of it.
Mm.
Right? So like this
Yeah.
room can't just instantaneously become
Uh-huh.
negative 0 degrees unless something else affects it. So air has to be cold to then make other things
Well,
cold.
cold doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist?
No,
Nope, just lack of heat.
just lack of heat.
We gave it the attribute of cold. The lack of heat or warmth is cold. We just call
Yeah,
it,
water is just not dry.
which would make it wet.
No.
Nope. Even Google says it's not wet.
Yeah. Oh,
Water
really?
water is not wet because wetness arises from the interaction between a liquid and a solid surface. In other words, wetness is a property that occurs when water or another liquid comes into contact with a solid object.
Right. That's like the top quote of Google. It
Uh,
also says
no, the-
something that it
the-
is a debated subject.
The top one on Google says most scientists define wetness as a liquid's ability to maintain contact with a solid surface, meaning that water itself is not wet, but
Water
can
is-
make another sensation. But if you define wet as made of liquid or moisture, as some do, then water and all other liquids could be considered wet.
Well, that doesn't make any sense because if you put water on something else, then that wouldn't be wet because it's not made of water.
Exactly. And you can't put water onto another liquid to make that liquid wet. The liquid has to come in contact with some solid surface.
If I were to take a dropper and drop water on this table, the table's not wet because it's not saturating the table because there's a protective surface.
Well, no, of course. It's
No, there's a protective surface on this table that
Yeah.
prevents moisture from getting into the wood deeper
okay,
in.
sure.
But when you touch the water, and that's still, it's wet.
Your finger becomes wet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
Thanks
it
for-
gains the attribute of something else. It can't.
Can't argue with Google, man.
I mean, you can. I mean, Wikipedia is wrong about a lot of things. but-
No.
Yeah.
No. Everything on Wikipedia is unfallible.
Unfallible.
Yeah.
Completely. All right.
Yeah.
So I need you guys to explain to me then how an object can give another object an attribute without having said attribute. I don't.
Because
can't
first
wrap my
that
head around
object
it.
is dry, and to become wet, it must be saturated with a liquid.
Yeah.
Water cannot become dry. You can't saturate water with more water to make water wet.
Yeah.
It's just a liquid. And a liquid coming
Fire
into contact
is not burned, but it
burns
burns
things.
Yeah, it burns things, but it still gives
Fire
off
doesn't burn
heat.
itself.
Hot enough fires can
No.
consume other fires.
It doesn't burn it.
I think
Because in
it
order to be
can.
burned, it needs to have like carbon or something.
Yeah, fire
Or
can't
like
burn another
a
fire.
physical material.
Fire can conjoin with another fire
Yeah.
to continue to burn things around it that are,
Yeah, it can consume other fires, but
but it can't be burned.
yeah, you can't burn a flame.
But the thing that is producing the fire
Next
can
topic.
be burned. No, I'm just trying to understand. Like, I understand Google says water may not be wet, but I still don't. So water gives something else, like a piece of paper. You drop water on paper.
Mm.
That water makes the paper wet.
Yeah.
Because it gave. So what is wet? Let me try to understand that.
So
what
here's-
is wet?
Here's one
defined
where it
as?
says, why is water not wet? Water with water has a cohesive interaction, explains Glick. And if water is attracted to something else, then that's called adhesive. This concept of wetting is actually, to a scientist, the adhesive side. Because water has a cohesive interaction with itself, it doesn't wet itself.
It doesn't wet itself.
So look up the definition of wet.
Wait, that's
Wet,
that's a
covered or
circular
saturated.
sentence. Water doesn't wet itself.
The definition of wet
because
is
it's not wet. but
the
then it
definition
is
of wet is covered or saturated with water or another liquid.
Being covered or saturated.
So, by definition, just all liquids are not wet.
Yes. If
They're
it's
just
in a
liquid.
So
liquid,
then I guess wet wouldn't be the right term to call water.
well, no.
That's what we're saying. Water's
Yeah.
not wet.
Water's just
It's-
not dry.
It's just a liquid.
Yeah, it is liquid.
But
And it makes
liquids
things
aren't
wet. Nope.
But
Does
when
that-
a liquid saturates something, a physical object, then that physical object is now
Yeah, because
wet.
So then, what is water then?
it's
A liquid.
Then what is a liquid?
A liquid
One
is
of the forms of matter.
yeah, it's a state of being of matter.
Well, there's arguments that like water is actually all forms of matter. It can be solid, liquid, and gas.
Well, yeah, it can be given other properties.
Yeah.
Like,
But in
if
none
you-
of those states is it wet.
In none of those states is it wet.
Nope.
turn it to a
Mm.
mist or a gas, then the water vapor can then attach to something else, make it wet. You turn it to ice, a solid, it'll melt
I still
and make something
believe
wet.
that water is wet.
I mean,
Like I kind of understand what
well,
you guys
yeah.
are saying.
You have the freedom of believing wrong things.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
don't
why
tap the
America
table.
is so
Hey,
great.
table.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
man.
loud as fuck.
just touching it that little bit.
Yeah, it's
I'm
loud
keeping my
as
hands
fuck.
under here. That's
No, I get it.
that's crazy.
But I still am having trouble wrapping my head around how an object can give another object an attribute that it itself does not have.
Well, it's the same as fire.
Yeah.
Fire burns something, but it can't be burned. Fire can't be on fire. Fire just is its own thing. But you can't light a fire on fire. You can light wood on fire and burn it.
You can give it more oxygen to accelerate it more.
That
That
just
just makes it
creates more fire.
You're
Mhm.
just feeding it.
Okay, so but fire catches other things on fire.
Yeah.
Fire is by definition on fire because it is
No.
fire.
Fire is
Fire is the thing. Like water is the thing. Water makes things wet. Fire makes things burn.
I don't want to dive down this rabbit hole, but I think I'm gonna have.
We
to.
already. Well, I'm gonna say. I mean, oh, you like
no personally
researching it to
myself.
to
Yeah.
a degree to where you understand it on a molecular level.
Maybe not a molecular, but that would be. I'm just gonna come in here one of these days, guys. Watching that, I'm gonna point that camera at the
You'll
wall.
have
I'm
like
gonna have
600 hours of research into it, and be
I'm gonna
like,
be that dude
Yeah.
from
Always Sunny.
Always Sunny
Yeah.
in Philadelphia.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got another fun one for you. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Pinocchio paradox. If Pinocchio were to tell you, my nose is going to grow now, would it?
No.
But if it didn't grow,
Uh,
then he'd be lying.
Isn't that kind of
Well,
like
things can either be. There are things that are neither true or false.
Schrodinger's cat? That kind of
Yeah.
feels like it's playing off Schrodinger's cat and that old riddle trope. The two brothers, one always tells the truth, one always tells a lie.
Yeah.
So if Pinocchio said, my nose is going to grow right now, in that moment, he would be telling a lie. So it would have to grow, but then that would also mean that he told the truth. So it
Therefore,
would
it
come down
couldn't
to
grow.
like 0.00001 of a second in which he lied. So
He would only be lying if his nose didn't grow, but if his nose didn't grow, then he would be lying, so therefore it would have to grow.
it comes down to
I personally think a statement
the
like
time
that
in
would
which
just
the
cancel
nurse-
itself out.
maybe kind of like Schrodinger's cat.
Maybe his nose would
both
just
dead and alive.
maybe his nose would just start going error,
I could.
bouncing back and forth.
He would be a party favorite at women's bachelorette parties.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because if you take like the rules into effect, it might be like whatever force is governing it would be like, you are trying to trick me, so I'm just not going to do anything at
He'd
all.
probably just blow his nose up. Like, oh, you think you're smart, huh?
Oh, just make a black hole appear and just suck him in.
He would just spontaneously combust in that moment.
Oh, that made my head kind of
What,
wrap
bust?
into some.
Be like, oh, busting.
No, spontaneous combustion. There's been a couple.
Oh, whether
studies.
it's real or not.
Yeah. It has to. People are suggesting now that there's a deep hole about this. That it actually has to do with frequencies. If you vibrate on the wrong frequency, you will explode.
I don't think so, because there's never been any video caught of it.
Of it happening, sure.
Yeah.
But there's been like crime scene evidence, which is very weird.
Yeah, and they'll be like, well, the specific way it burned, it couldn't,
Yeah.
they'll have somebody's foot left, or
Yeah.
how if the fire
That's
was that
what I
hot
saw
and
where
it's in
they-
a couch, it's like,
I'd seen things like that
No
where they
video
show
of it.
crime scene photographs of like a dude. Well, he wasn't there anymore, but basically just his feet were on the
mhm.
ground in front of the fridge. Fridge door was open, and there was just like, they said, it looks like he swallowed a stick of dynamite. Like that's what would happen if this. So I don't know. Spontaneous human combustion.
And I think in either most of or all cases, they're a smoker. So it has to be they had some kind of something they were wearing that was maybe a mechanic or something,
Explosive?
and they were
Oof.
doused in gasoline or something, or they just had dropped a cigarette, burned them up, and they were the only thing that could fuel the
Yeah.
fire.
Maybe.
I don't know. It doesn't
Probably
make sense
just
to me.
probably just aliens testing out some technology that we can't see, and they just shoot it at someone and
Maybe.
poof, they just disappear.
That's funny because I actually I play a strategy game where that comes into play, where you can find so you're a spacefaring civilization and you can find less advanced civilizations on planets that haven't left the planet. They don't even know that you're there.
What game are you talking about?
Stellaris.
Yeah, Stellaris. My buddy
You
plays
can
that a lot.
actually like invade the planets subvertively and like conduct experiments on people, and the strength of our tractor beam actually blew this person up. What should we do? Increase the power or settle down a little bit? And it's like, oh,
Increase.
that's interesting.
Always increase the power.
Yeah, completely vaporize them.
Let's find out how powerful this is. Could definitely happen. I could see it.
I was watching a How Ridiculous video the other day. It was one of their new videos, and they were shooting things out of like these CO2 cannons at each other and like getting slow-mos of when they would collide.
I didn't see that one.
So
Oh.
at the very end, they had these two giant glass balls. And
I've seen the thumbnail for that. Okay. I didn't watch
and
the
when
video.
these they got like some accidental science on video in this slow-mo because you couldn't see it in real
it
time.
looks like liquid when they first collide.
No,
Hmm.
it actually caused like a mini explosion. Like you can see an explosion when they hit where there's like an actual spark and small flame.
Oh,
In real time, you couldn't see it at all. And when they were watching the slow-mo back,
interesting.
they had a guy on there explaining what happened, but he wasn't even too sure at first. So then he came back like the next day and said he Googled it and found out what it was, but that there was no pictures or videos or examples on Google that showed it as good as their video did.
No shit.
So I'm wondering if like
So they
yeah,
might win like a Nobel Prize for that.
Yeah, I don't. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. Like
they're probably going to do more experimentation with
Yeah.
it to see.
Because I've seen super slow-mo videos, and every time like they shoot an object at a solid object, when it collides at the 10,000
It'll
frames
ripple.
per second, it
Mhm.
like
looks liquid.
turns into a liquid because of the force.
Yeah,
and then-
especially like golf
yeah.
balls.
Mhm.
yeah, that
They're,
stuff
they're
is
like
so cool.
jello
But speaking about
balls.
no, speaking of balls, Nobel Prize, Trump has been nominated for Nobel Peace Prize for
Okay.
his Abraham Accords.
Yeah.
Even though they've now completely turned upside down and are pushing us towards World War III.
Yeah.
But that's not because of Trump's fault. That's because of Israel, Palestine, and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
'Cause- No, that's who was this that did the?
How ridiculous. They're the guys that just drop stuff off of high
Yeah,
high
the
towers.
Australians.
Yeah,
and
yeah, they're super cool.
Yeah,
those
they
videos
have,
are awesome.
They have the tower,
Mhm.
and then they do at the dam.
Off the dam.
Yep.
The dam one is really cool where they do the balls.
The Magnus effect.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's really awesome to watch that in action. Oh yeah, they did like the bullseye thing at the bottom of the dam, and they started dropping anvils, and when it hit the car, bro, it was like no resistance at all. It just
Yeah, it was like,
like
butter.
butter.
oh, that's amazing to think of how something's weight, density, and speed just can negate
Yeah,
something
it
else
doesn't
physical
care, yeah.
attributes.
That's kind of why the rods from God are terrifying.
the tungsten steel from space.
Yeah, that's you don't even need an explosive.
No,
It just free fall
the kinetic
speed
force.
and yeah,
It's a
more
1
powerful than
ton
a
steel
nuclear.
rod.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
terrifying.
can,
powerful than a nuclear bomb.
like
Terrifying.
a quarter of a mile into the ground, if it hits solid ground, it just
It's wild.
And it's tungsten steel, so it's like not even damaged. So that's just insane.
It's got to be real tungsten.
Yeah.
Coworker of mine, his wedding band broke. It's supposed to be made of tungsten.
tungsten coated.
There's a crack in it, and he's only had it a couple months. It's like, yeah, I'd be
That's
I'd
not
be
real.
contacting the seller of that and
Yeah, that's not
raising
real
a
tungsten.
bit of a fuss.
They'll probably give it to him and be like, "Oh, we're sorry about that." But if they want to be dicks, they could be like, "Well, it says made with tungsten, not made of tungsten." So,
Yeah, it's all in the wording. You got to be careful with that. There was people getting scammed online when the whole Stanley Cup thing was going on last month with the pink Stanley Cups, and someone bought a picture of one for like $150.
Yep.
Oof.
Yup. And if they actually clicked on the link to read the full description, it did say in the description that it was a picture of the pink Stanley Cup.
Yeah. No, they probably were just like, "Oh my god, I found one!" Click and bought. They got
Mhm.
two.
Now,
companies.
what was the
Damn.
craze with the Stanley Cups?
I have no idea.
Neither do I.
Somehow
I
it
have-
was like a flash in the pan. There was
Yeah.
like a week or two of everybody talking about Stanley Cups.
Yeah, it just to me
And
came out
then-
of nowhere. They had these like
I didn't
pink
even really
Starbucks
see anything
ones.
about it.
Yeah, they had like these pink Starbucks ones, and people were camping outside of Target for Target to open, like they would on Black Friday, to rush in and grab the ones that they had available on
And
display.
they were that expensive?
In the store, I think they were like $40, but people are reselling them for hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Psyop.
Seems like it.
Yeah. Sounds like something where a bunch of people on Reddit were like, "Hey, do you remember what we did with GameStop? Let's do it with this one innocuous device."
Well, people do it with items all the time. Amiibos. Amiibo figures are huge to do it with.
fidget spinners.
Any sports cards or Pokemon packs, people will go with buy out Walmart, buy out everywhere, and then they'll be able to double their money because it's better to buy them in person for double than having to pay for tax and shipping and buy them online when you're going to be paying the same price.
And you also got to be careful to not damage the inside of the Stanley Cup because it contains lead.
Oh, wait, what? That's not legal in the United States, is it?
It is, as long as it's not like making contact with the water surface or whatever. It's like inside the cup, but if it were to get damaged, you'd have to throw it away because then the lead could be exposed.
So it's like a plastic coating inside or something with lead lining it.
I think
for
between
insulation.
the outside and the inside wall, yeah.
Yo, there's so many other things that are better for insulation than lead. Why would we? God, probably because it's super cheap.
Probably a good thing we got rid of using stuff like that and asbestos. Like you've
Asbestos.
heard about the Wizard of Oz, right?
Well, like,
what do you mean?
just about the Wizard of Oz? Have we ever heard of it?
The scene. I assume you guys have seen it. I feel like everyone's seen
Talking about
that
the
movie.
midget hanging in the background?
No,
Oh.
just the movie itself. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
So you know the scene where they're out in the field, the poppy field,
You're talking
and
about the 30s one?
and it starts snowing. That snow that they used was pure asbestos.
Oof.
Yeah, yeah.
Yikes.
I touched asbestos once. Man.
Surprised you're still alive.
I mean,
It
was
was
it
in-
actually that? I know it's bad,
Mhm.
but is it like phosphorus? You know,
I know
you
that-
touch it, you're gonna die.
I know that they could probably, the actors could, if they're still alive now, could probably contact, I can't remember the attorney's name, but for mesothelioma.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I'm
that's
pretty
the
sure
thing.
that's
They
from
probably waited
asbestos.
till
They'd
they
be
were
like
all dead.
102. They
No,
be
they'd
pretty
wait till they
old.
were all dead.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with pharmaceuticals. Same thing with like tobacco products. it's going to be the same thing with a lot of stuff, like
Vapes.
but I truly believe this whole thing about the American election, 2020 election, in like 60 years, they'll finally be like, oh yeah, by the way, yeah.
Yeah, when the politicians are either all
Dead,
dead or
gone.
all so old
Yeah.
that no one cares.
Most
Like
of the people that
that one
actually
dude that was
voted
like
or cared about
104
it.
or whatever.
I think there should definitely be a maximum age for being in our government. There should definitely be term limits and possibly a maximum age too, because
Well, as long as you're fit, like you got 98-year-olds running marathons and lifting weights, and
Yeah.
as long as you're physically fit and mentally fit, there should just be an aptitude test.
I think one of my things with that is just how times change and how different generations change and everything. And it's like having a different mindset from the generation that's currently like the main group of people right now. Like it'll be nice seeing more millennials starting to get into office, hopefully, as
Yeah.
long as they're not corrupt. But most politicians at that level tend to be quite corrupt.
I could see that causing a lot of upset though, because it's like it's rapid onset progression, which is kind of the problem we saw after World War One. A lot of men in World War One that died were typically like 20, 30, 40-year-old men.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the people back home after the war ended, these people that started their political careers were younger and saw a more progressive view of the world, and then more problems started coming up. So I could see phasing older people out. I believe whatever the United States retirement age is, like right now it's 65.
It'll be 70 if Nikki Haley has anything to do with it.
Yeah. Honestly, even if you are mentally fit, I don't believe you should be in political office at 65 or older. Like even Donald Trump. He's obviously more fit than Joe Biden, but you're old, man. You're old. Stick with your business, do what you got to do. If this was a law, I'd be fine with it. Aptitude test, yeah, I'm fine with that because there are a lot of politicians that would not pass. Mitch McConnell, Dianne Feinstein.
I'm getting to a point.
Now passed.
I'm getting to a point. I feel like you should have to take some kind of aptitude test just to go vote.
Civics test, I believe.
Yeah, something along those lines that show you're competent enough to make a educated vote.
Yeah. The Democratic push for a little over a year, they kind of calmed down on it where they were trying to lower the age limit to like 16.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Absolutely.
Because
they want the lowest information people they can to vote.
Mhm, because they know they'll get that vote.
16-year-olds do not care
They don't
about
understand
the
how
country.
anything works.
Right. But you
most
could,
of them.
you could very easily manipulate an entire generation of 16-year-olds through social media programming
Mhm.
to, do you want to save the Dolphins? Vote for blue.
Yeah.
Or
Especially with like the whole Taylor Swift thing, to where they think the government's like kind of
Psyoping
manipulating
her.
her. Yeah.
there's a lot of back and forth between with that whole thing.
Yeah,
Because like she got mad because of the Soros ended up buying the rights of her music,
Yep.
but only the masters. So she ended up
She had to
rewriting
re-record all
all
of
of
them.
it. Yeah, which is, I'm not a huge fan of Taylor.
She's got a couple good ones.
She is a good songwriter. She's a phenomenal performer, and she was very smart when it came to dealing with other companies buying out her music rights. She's all right in my book.
Yeah.
Can you believe she makes over $1 million per concert?
Well, yeah, she's worth what was it, 1.1
Over
billion?
$1 billion now. But
Yeah.
when we looked that up at work one night, just curious how much she makes per concert. It's over $1 million per concert.
I'm surprised it's not more.
I think it was like 1.1 million something. And that's probably just like average. I know one of her shows in, I think it was Washington, actually registered seismic activity on the Richter
Oh
scale.
yeah, it was
like-
too much.
Yeah, she
People
has some of the
stomping and
biggest shows
dancing,
in,
yeah.
in history.
You want to piss off a Kansas City Chiefs fan, tell them they're only a Chiefs fan because of Taylor Swift.
Mhm. There was another one, I believe, in California where there was actually like not rioting, but there was mass police reports when she was throwing a concert because it was just so loud.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
yeah,
people
I
were
bet.
complaining like a mile away.
I bet. That's a
Have
lot
you
of
ever
people.
have you ever seen the crazy? It's not really like a conspiracy, but like the glow up of Napoleon Dynamite into Taylor Swift.
No,
yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
seen
You
that.
put their faces together and it's
Yeah,
like
it's
they're
actually-
the same person,
Yeah,
just
it's pretty
I
close.
haven't seen
different
that.
sexes. It's kind of crazy.
She did win her fourth. What was it? Fourth Grammy
Emmy
for
or
best
Grammy?
album or something like that.
She's talented. She's talented. I don't agree with her on a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
I believe she does have a really bad taste in men because almost all of her albums are how she broke up with
Yeah.
somebody. But she's talented, and she gets on people's.
At
It's
this
not
point,
like any of her music is overtly like outrageous.
Yeah.
So
at this point, her and Travis Kelce remind me of the popular girl in high school dating the jock that win prom king and queen. That's what their relationship seems like to me.
and he's the Kansas City Chiefs football.
Yeah, I think he plays tight end. Maybe.
I
Do you think she's gonna make him sign a prenup if they get married?
most yeah,
Probably. I mean, she's
She
the
would
breadwinner.
have to.
She's the breadwinner by far.
but
Yeah, I mean, what does the top tier football players make? What, 10 million a year? 10,
I think
15
like
million a year,
I
something
mean,
like
I can
that?
Google it, but I want to say like the highest paid person is like 100 million something for
Yeah, for like a
over
6 year, 8 year
football
contract,
stars
something like that.
get paid a lot of money. I do know that this dude was basically unheard of until he started
Oh, yeah,
dating
of
Taylor
course.
Swift, and now he's doing like Pfizer commercials and stuff, which I don't agree with. That's kind of like, ooh, that's where a lot of people are saying like
Joe-
the psyop is coming in, where Taylor Swift says all this stuff. I
So
get
the
it.
highest paid NFL player right now is Joe Burrows. Plays for the Bengals and he makes 55 million a year.
55.
Yeah, Taylor Swift makes that after 3 months of touring.
Yeah.
That's
That's still pretty
wild.
crazy though. And guaranteed his salary is gonna like have to go up.
Mhm.
Like after his contract's up, whoever he goes
Yeah.
for next.
He's
or
going
if
to be
they-
like, do you understand who I'm dating and
Yep.
what kind of publicity our team is going to get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
gonna-
find it kind of funny how mad NFL fans are getting because they show Taylor Swift a couple times per game. I think it's pretty funny. Like, who cares? Just don't pay
Yeah.
attention to
Yeah,
it.
it's a
I
couple
don't-
seconds of her
yeah.
waving and
I don't
like, oh, there
understand
she
why
is,
people are so
cheering
mad about
Travis
it.
on.
I do see a lot of memes about like butthurt conservatives when Taylor Swift comes on the TV, and it was like, I don't see that, but I'm sure there are some like hardcore propagandized MAGA no matter who conservatives that are like,
I mean,
"Oh,
yeah,
I hate this woman because so and so said so.
yeah,
It's
because
like,
she endorsed
all
Joe
right.
Biden a couple
Yeah.
years ago or whatever.
Yeah, her net worth is 1.1 billion compared to Travis Kelce's 40 million.
You said she makes about $1 million per concert. Is that profit or is that like ticket sales? Because you got to remember,
I think that's what's being added to her net worth. So
Okay.
profit.
you would have to like account for how much the venue costs for staffing, for equipment, and things like that. So, a million profit per
Oh my
show?
god, I was way wrong. I thought it was like 1.3 million per show. Taylor Swift makes around 13.6 million per show.
Okay, yeah,
That can't be profit. That's insane. That can't be.
I mean, it makes sense if her net worth skyrocketed that much. She earns $1,260 per second. It's more than I make in a week. It's crazy.
Yikes.
The most I've made in a week at Domino's was just over 1,200.
That's wild.
Actually, I made a little more than that if I count what they taxed, because that was what I brought home that week.
Now I do kind of wonder about Taylor Swift's how she grew up. Was she just like naturally a good singer, or was she one of the girls that had to like really bust to become good and a good songwriter and learn these things, or was she just like a natural talent?
I think she was, I mean, obviously, even natural talent still needs to work and practice,
Yeah.
but I think she was one of the naturally gifted ones.
Yeah, I mean, she was doing music at what, 15, 16?
She was
It
young.
makes me
like that.
very, very jealous of people.
Because she's
Naturally
35
talented.
now. And she's been,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we were in high school when she was doing music, so.
And that's crazy too. She's 35 and her bloodline is done. Like that genetic composition of her is done.
What do you mean?
She doesn't have any kids.
Oh no,
And
they're
she's-
gonna clone her.
Well, I mean, she has another 10 years to have a child. You don't think she doesn't want one?
I don't know. But if she's 35, she's about there.
Yeah,
And
I
it
mean, her
gets
window's
risky
closing.
after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, her
So
window's closing.
maybe. But if she's already 35, chances are she doesn't want one.
Well, she hasn't found anybody worth having one with.
I mean,
Or rather,
she dated Tucker. That could have been worth.
Who's
Who?
Tucker?
Tucker Carlson.
What?
Taylor Swift dated Tucker Carlson. Or am I thinking of Amber Heard?
What? Let me
Tucker
Google
Carlson's been married for like 30 years or something.
Then maybe I'm thinking of Amber? Or
She-
am I just absolutely completely wrong 100%
Yeah, you gotta
no
be.
matter what?
Yeah, Tucker's been married for 30, like 25 or 30 years, and he has like 7 kids or something like that.
Then I'm not sure where I got that information from.
I was super confused.
What alternate reality are you living in?
Right?
Did you Google it? Did he have a? He had a side piece.
I know Amber Heard dated Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not finding anything on Google about
Yeah, I'm
Amber
not sure
Amber Heard or
where I got that then.
yeah, I don't know.
Might have been one of those fake information that was spread on Facebook a long time ago.
Tabloids.
Maybe.
Yeah, plus Tucker's much older than them.
Yeah, he's
by
50,
like 20 years.
He's 56,
54.
54.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I did hear this year. That just proves it. We're in an alternate reality. The Hadron Collider in
Yeah, and
2016 really
he's been
stood
married
itself up.
since 1991.
Yeah.
So
Wow. So, I'm actually about to Google then who Taylor Swift is all dated. I have no idea where I heard that from then. I am big wrong, and that's a little embarrassing, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean,
she's
not
dated
really.
Calvin Harris, Harry Styles, Connor Kennedy, Jake Gyllenhaal, Taylor
I
Lautner,
was gonna say
John
Taylor Lautner was the
Mayer,
one I
Joe
remember.
Jonas.
So a bunch of just random famous people.
She's had a lot of them.
Yeah, she's dated a bunch.
Are there any nobodies on there?
No.
Let's see.
Before she was famous, probably she dated a couple of guys. Could you imagine being that guy? Yo, I'd probably commit seppuku. I'd be like, yo, I broke up with Taylor Swift when we were in high
And then,
school.
yeah, 3
and
years
then-
later, she.
Either of you guys know Joe Alwyn?
Never heard.
That was her longest relationship from 2017 to 2023. So I feel like he's the biggest nobody on that whole list.
Lucas Till, Taylor Lautner, John Mayer. Really, John Mayer?
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, he's also a little bit older. I mean, he was doing music in the.
I never knew she
early
dated
90s.
Loki.
Oh, dude who plays Loki.
Oh, Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston.
Hmm.
Yeah, Joe Alwyn is like,
What does he do?
I have no idea who he is. I'm about to Google that.
Wow. Where did I hear that from then?
And it.
Probably some dumb shit.
You sure you weren't
How long
dreaming?
has maybe.
How long was
Might
what?
have been. How long has Tucker Carlson? Well, he worked for Fox. Who did he work for before then? Wasn't it like
He said it was like CNN or
Yeah.
something like that.
When he wore
back,
the bow
back in his
tie.
20s.
I remember hearing somebody say that like back when he wore the bow tie he dated somebody, but
I don't know. He's
I
been
don't
married.
really follow Tucker
He's
all
been
that
married
much,
since
but-
1991, though.
Yeah, I was
so-
gonna say if
Huh.
if so, Taylor would have been like 5 years old. Yeah,
In Hollywood, that's normal, but Tucker's not
yeah,
one of those guys.
that's normal in Hollywood. Wow.
Yeah, so apparently this Joe Alwyn guy is an actor. I
Watch it be one of the guys from like Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I don't even think
That's
I know any of the movies this Joe Alwyn guy was in.
is he just a background character?
Probably a B-lister.
It seems like it because I don't recognize any of these movies.
He's one of those typical like evil henchmen guys.
8 years to date somebody is unfathomable. After 2 or 3,
I dated Sam for 10, so which I mean, look at the situation now. It turned out not so good.
Yeah,
Probably should have just
yeah, because after
gotten married to her and then solidified everything.
after 2 or 3, if you don't know whether or not you want to get married to somebody, then that's not the person for you. If after 3 years,
Well, in my case, it wasn't that I didn't know. if
well, you
I
were also
wanted
super
to-
young,
It's
or
not that-
relatively young.
I didn't know that It wasn't that I didn't want to marry her. It's that I don't strongly believe in the marriage institution the way it's been perverted by America.
Yeah,
The fact that the courts can intervene in such an egregious way is it doesn't fit into my perspective.
Yep.
Where
well, there
Yours-
are binding contracts you can do that where the government can't get involved, aren't there? It's like
I think
Civil
those
union
are
or
for very
something like that.
specific religious reasons. Like
maybe.
if Amish communities, if you get married, the state has cannot intervene in any way unless it's child abuse or
Yeah.
spousal abuse, things like that. But a
Yeah,
lot of
breaking
these
the law.
states where
Well, some
it's
of the
no fault
haircuts-
divorce and stuff,
Some of the haircuts the Amish have should be child abuse. Those bowl cuts are terrible.
they're very strict about everything. You know, I mean, when the apocalypse comes, the Amish are surviving. Bro.
Oh yeah, they're
they
they're
got
getting
this
by
on
just
lock.
fine. They can move whole buildings together. I don't know if you've seen those videos.
Yeah.
Yes,
Where they move
Bro,
like a
that's
barn
really
or a
awesome
giant
to
shed.
watch.
Yeah,
that is awesome to watch.
the teamwork involved in that is astounding.
Yeah, nobody trips.
Yeah, they're all in unison.
They've all been doing it for
Yeah.
175 years each, so they got the ability to do it. Now they're dope. Amish are dope. I highly respect their lifestyle. That is,
I might be Amish on Sundays. Sundays and
because
It's
like Tuesdays maybe.
It's too bad the
Just
Amish.
live the Amish lifestyle a day a week.
It's too bad the Amish don't grow weed because they're so good at everything
probably
else.
do.
They're so good at everything else they do. They would probably grow the best weed.
I don't think they do.
Mennonites might.
Yeah, maybe
Maybe the
maybe one
Mennonites.
of those Amish cultures.
I mean, Amish are Christian
Yeah.
for the
typically.
most part.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
Oh.
mean, the Bible doesn't say anything about marijuana.
Well,
so...
no. But
the
well,
Amish-
Genesis 129 pretty much tells me I can have weed.
Yeah, and the Amish also drink, but it's for certain celebratory
Yeah.
things, and it's a very low concentration of alcohol.
So there's
yeah,
an-
because you're not supposed to get drunk.
There's an article here from November 26, 2023 by the Daily Mail saying inside the booming business of Amish cannabis farmers. I'm wondering if maybe they grow it but don't smoke
Oh,
it.
they
For
just
sure.
produce it and yeah.
Man, I
guess-
got to try
So,
some of their
what
weed.
they
It's probably
probably do-
phenomenal.
is they grow it and they use the hemp as material and then sell the buds.
Sell the
and
buds,
Yep. Makes sense. I mean, hemp is used for everything, and I'm sure the Amish know good ways to use it.
Yeah.
If anybody does, it's the Amish. Man, such a fascinating culture in America.
Have you ever watched any videos on the day-to-day
Living the life of Amish
yeah.
and things like that. I've seen a few things. I found it kind of exploiting when they did not a campaign, but they did a show of I don't remember what it's called, but as a child when you hit 16,
Rumspringa!
you're given the right to where you can leave and then decide whether or not you want to stay in the community or not or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I never got into watching it, but there was one day when I was working at the sticker shop down in Waverly, they put on the TV. It was called Amish Mafia. Yes, there's a real TV show called Amish Mafia.
Is it about a real thing or is it just like a drama?
It's an American reality television series.
Reality television.
Let's see if there's a brief description here. The storyline is the series follows members of the Amish Mafia in their efforts to keep peace within the Amish community in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and protect it from outsiders.
So the
as
fact,
they deal with internal struggles for power as to who will lead the mafia.
So they're more of like a police force.
but the fact that they allowed studio production filmmakers and camera crew follow them around makes me believe that it's all fake. because-
usually most like reality TV like that is kind of fake.
Yeah.
So
But the fact that
Well,
a group of Amish people allowed themselves to be followed by video crews to like pervert their society makes it feel like they're not truly Amish.
No.
Hmm?
Why not? Why?
Because they don't have anything to do with anything.
They don't
like
use it
that.
themselves.
Right. But
They're
I
not
don't
using it.
see why they would allow other people to exploit their livelihoods or their culture.
I don't see why they would care. Maybe they wanted to shed some
We would have to ask
insight on what it's like to be Amish. Maybe they're like, people don't really know. Let's show them what it's
We'd have
like.
to talk to some of them then.
Yeah. Ooh, let's get an Amish person on.
But then
That'd
I
be-
would automatically lose the debate because if we have one here, then obviously
Oh,
Then I lose.
the water is wet thing. They'll be like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. No, a debate about what?
I believe you have to have the attribute to give it. So
Oh, like
Just
if
what
an
it is.
Amish person bites somebody, they can turn them Amish. Is it-
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
oh, now you know what? Somebody's gonna see that and be like, "That's a great movie idea." The zombie Irish virus, or Irish zombie Amish virus.
You know who I'd like to talk to is like somebody that works at or owns one of these convenience stores that's ran by they're usually from India or over in that area of the map. I want to know why their convenience stores are so much better than American owned and ran convenience stores. Americans don't know how to convenience store the way that they do.
I would say on average, because you got like the
I mean,
Was it the
Burberry's pretty
Joe-
awesome.
Joe's Quick Mart, like that one's really nice.
Nah, that one's weak compared to some of these ones that the immigrants own and run.
Dandy's is really
They got
good.
clothes. They got like delis in a lot of these convenience stores now where you can order food.
Yeah, but
and
some of them I'm scared to walk in because they're
bad neighborhoods.
bad
Yeah.
neighborhoods. There's a lot of weirdos hanging outside or
Mm-hmm.
inside, and a lot of them are really rude.
There's one up on Grand Central Ave now that's, and it's not in a bad neighborhood. There's one that went into the old Pudgy's that was right there before you get into the Heights. I felt bad for those dudes. I went in the one day, and it was shortly after they
The
opened.
old Pudgy's.
And the one
near
that's,
King Cone.
yeah,
Yeah, a
And-
little up from there.
I was in my Domino's uniform. He asked me if it was busy. I said, I don't know yet. I haven't been in. I'm just heading in now. I said, but normally Saturdays are busy. And he was like, yeah, we've been dead here. I was like, well, you guys just opened, so give us some time. Hopefully, you get some more business. And
If
it
they're
looks
in the-
looks like they're starting to pick up business a
If
little
they're
bit.
in the building I'm thinking of, it probably won't last. That's one of those like
It-
cursed locations. and all
Yeah,
that.
it's
Mhm.
right across from or kitty corner to
Yeah.
Eldridge.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the
It's like
But
right
it's-
right
Farther
across
in.
the one street from
So,
McClure's
like-
Deli.
Yeah.
That building has had like 5 or 6 businesses in the last 10 years.
Hmm
There was
the bakery or the sweet shop. They
Yep.
they moved.
They were a
Ma's
Pudgy's.
Cheesy Dreams.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
they
They moved
were-
right up by Domino's now.
They were another pizzeria for a while. They were the Cheesecake Factory. They've been a bunch of different restaurant like things.
It's kind of
There's
like where
another one across from Edison High School.
I mean, it could
That
be
place is,
they
like, cursed.
maybe the rent's too high. Maybe it's just
Maybe.
too.
I
Sometimes-
think it's just bad location, which
But
doesn't
that's-
make much sense.
that's weird
No,
though, because McClure's Deli, which is literally right next to it across Thurston Street, they get
Yeah.
good business.
I don't know. I think it's just cursed locations.
Kind of like the location where, like, I loved his food, the Sauce Boss, when it was open. That Alfredo Don Diablo was amazing, spicy Alfredo. But it was in a building across from where, like, the old PNC was on Lake Road. I only remembered as PNC because I worked there as a 16-year-old.
Mm.
There's been like a barbecue place, 2 pizza places. Like, he had good food. I think it was just a bad location for him to open up. Which he's trying to open back up in the Heights, but the building he's trying to move into needs like $30,000 worth of work. I think he said on Facebook to make it able for him to cook food and have the proper ventilation and everything like that. So
What's that grocery store up in the like Horseheads Heights area? The big one that Jubilee. Have you ever been to the soup place that's up in that plaza? I forgot the name of it, but there's
I know Jubilee.
They have mainly soup and
I know
Soup's on Cafe.
Soup's on. No, it's like Soup of the Day or soup.
I've never even heard of it.
If you're up in the area,
I know there's a place next to Jubilee called Bagels and Blarney.
Oh, that's it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. They do
Bagels and Blarney.
Soup.
Where'd Turtle Leaf go? I miss them.
Turtle Leaf now is on East Water Street.
They moved?
Right before you get to the walking bridge. I go there every Saturday for my breakfast burrito.
That's where they opened up.
I thought they used to be at a different location before there.
No, that's when they first opened. They were on Water.
Okay.
Yeah, they were on East Water Street.
Yeah.
And I swear
they're in the same spot. I just went there
really?
a couple months ago.
Yeah, I go there once a week, usually on Saturday mornings to get my breakfast burrito with sausage.
Have their chicken and grape paninis. They were so good.
They got some strange food combinations, but people seem to really like it.
Yeah, the dude that opened that place up, I
used to bowl with him.
I think I went to school with him too.
His name's Adam, I think. We should try to get him in here sometime.
I'm pretty sure I was in culinary arts with him, and he has a very good finger on like taste combinations and things like that.
Some of the things I'm like, I don't know what
but
that is going to taste like. Because a lot of times you can kind of visualize or be like, and
like his house raspberry vinaigrette, it is good with everything. I've tried getting like raspberry vinaigrettes out of stores and stuff. Nothing compares to this.
I'm wondering if he makes his salsa in-house because they put this salsa on their breakfast burritos. It's so good. I refuse to believe
it the same one you get with the chips?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure everything
it's good.
He's had a couple of interviews.
Yeah, I refuse to believe that salsa comes out of a jar.
Everything himself. Salsa's not hard to make either, so pretty dope. Yeah, you should stop down there and see if he wants to come in and promote his business a little bit.
What were we talking about?
Really love his place.
Before that,
Cursed businesses in Omaha.
You were talking about the soup up at Bagels and Blarney.
Well, yeah, no, I was gonna.
And then before that, it was bad locations of places. Before that, it was the convenience stores and delis ran by.
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Back to the convenience stores thing. I've heard rumors before for the last couple of years that when families immigrate to America, if they open up a business, they're actually given certain tax reliefs and benefits for.
I've heard it was
like
several years tax free.
Yeah, and then that's why they sell it to their uncle for $1.
Friend.
Yeah,
they
sell the business and then
members,
the
which
business
is super smart.
stays tax free when somebody else buys it.
Yeah, because as long as it's a new owner within 10 years or something like that.
Yep. I heard rumors that smaller franchisees will actually do the same thing, where one brother will own a chain of like McDonald's and then sell it to the other brother at value, of course, not like undervalued. And then they would just keep swapping it back and forth, which is, just people gaming the system, which, I mean, we all know that it happens. Donald Trump admitted to it as well in 2016. So, I mean, if you have the means to game the system that's trying to screw you over, why not?
It's all just a game. We got to learn how to play it
and exploit in a video game. Like it's there. You're going to use it.
If you don't want to spend 4 hours doing this one farming technique, then find an exploit and do it. It's human nature. We do want things to be easy, just not so easy where it's boring.
Yeah.
I want things to not be hard.
I want to catch all the Pokemon, so of course I'm going to do the glitch where I get infinite Master Balls.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And rare candies.
And manipulate what you can run into.
Because nobody has 600 hours to get perfect stat Pokemon.
Some people do.
Well, you have those weirdos that want to do everything manually.
100% stuff.
No way.
No, but you can easily just, especially if you have like an emulator on your phone.
Game Shark it in.
Yeah. You can just, I want a perfect Clefairy. Might as well just spawn. Oh, no, Master Ball. Speaking of video games, I've been seeing a lot of that Power World stuff. You think
it looks? Yeah, I mean it's It's cool.
It
but
looks
it's not
cool,
polished.
and it looks fun.
Like compared to Enshrouded, it being like both are early access. Palworld's unplayable compared to Enshrouded. Oh, not unplayable, but
It's
it's
good in what it has
It's very
done.
annoying.
Yeah. Do you think that I don't know the parent company of Pokemon? Who is it? Is it just Pokemon?
It Game Freak.
Do you think they have a case
Oh,
against them?
No,
Neither do I.
it's
So many people are saying there's such a huge fan base that is
well.
so
I heard they
mad,
dropped it. I heard
Probably
they dropped. I heard
did,
they dropped everything.
but everybody was like, "Oh, look at the assets! It's clearly stolen, and this is copied, and that's copied." And it's like, bro,
like they definitely ripped some of the designs off because some of them are
Sure,
almost
maybe.
identical.
sure.
But
When you have over 1,000 creatures,
yeah, some are going
and
like
you
music.
have a wolf designed 4 different ways,
Mhm.
if another company wants to draw a fantasy wolf,
Yeah.
what are they going to do? Like, you can't just say, oh, we've made 10 million iterations of this single wolf, and if you have something that looks remotely like it, that's our property.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really do that. But with, what was it, Pokemon's last release, the ones where you have the legendary Pokemon as like motorcycles or
Oh
something,
yeah.
I've seen nothing but people complaining about the performance of that game. And then Power World comes out and it's just a slap in Pokemon's face. It's like people have been wanting to do things in Pokemon that they can do in Power World
Yeah.
for like a decade. I want to be able to just walk around, see a Pokemon, throw a ball.
Yeah, they've
That's
never
it.
in my opinion, they've never made a good Pokemon game. Every Pokemon game that they've ever made is just either too old and nothing back then was good. Like old games suck. I mean, they do. And
Pokemon Snap was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Pokemon
I love-
Arena was
I love
kind of
Pokemon
fun,
Snap.
but that was like
You-
very bare bones. You just went to an arena and battled.
yeah, you play them one or two, and they're kind of nostalgic. They're garbage.
Yeah.
Like they're really garbage games, but they never made an actual good game.
But features that the fan base have been telling Pokemon that they wanted for a decade now, and they just refuse to do it.
Mhm.
And I've seen people be like, I've been a Pokemon fan my whole life.
That's why I play Pixelmon,
And
the
the only
Pokemon
thing-
Minecraft.
Yeah. And something I've always wanted to do is just walk around and throw my Pokeball out and walk around with my pal.
Yeah.
And we've been saying this for a decade and they just won't do it. This game did it in like 3 years.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's all it took. It's kind of crazy.
you can do that in the Pokemon games, but they're still really they're.
Janky, plus the bugs. I've seen some of the bugs in the newer Pokemon. games.
I've had no bugs when I was playing through Violet, but the performance was so bad. You'd be getting 3 frames a second.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen some of the other bugs where people get
Yeah.
like trapped in the map. Pokemon will get trapped in the map.
Yeah,
You have those weird things where like you're not T-posed, but like the shoulders and the
yeah,
head
your
combine, and you're
your
like,
head, yeah. I never got any of that, but
Yeah.
the performance was. I just stopped playing the game
Yeah.
because you'd be getting 3 to 10 frames a second, and if there were too many Pokemon on screen, and it was just that was a mess.
I think it's just the market outrage that people that are such adamant fans of a service or a company saw another company do it better. That's
and
really it. They're just mad that another company did it better.
They need to stop catering to just kids. More adults play Pokemon than kids by far. I'd say the
Adults
average.
need to grow up.
I'd say the average person that plays Pokemon is probably 28.
Yeah.
Because I get, especially for Pokemon cards, I get way more adults than people bringing their kids in. I mean, it's probably 70-30.
It's one of those things that was targeted to kids, but it doesn't seem to be
Yeah, 'cause
translating.
Pokemon-
to younger.
Well, we were the kids that were
Yeah.
originally targeted for Pokemon, and then we
Exactly.
grew up
And
still
now
loving
we're in our
Pokemon.
30s.
So
And they should make a game for us.
It's kind of like it's the same concept with like Marvel and DC. When they first came out, they were a huge hit with kids. But then as those kids got older, the comic books got a little bit darker. They started getting more
Yeah.
realistic.
Yep.
Comic books nowadays target adults because that's the fan base. If a kid wants to see something about Marvel or something, they watch an animated series now, or they watch something that's been kind of tuned down for kids as to where If you go to a comic book shop and you pick up like a Punisher comic, people's brains are getting blown
Mhm.
out. That's not, it's been adapted for an older generation.
Yeah.
Where the nostalgia keeps them clinged on to the fantasy. But I mean, there's millions and millions of different iterations of Spider-Man and Batman and things like this where it does appeal to younger generations, but not like it did to the originals.
Well, and they have versions for kids. They'll like Teen Titan Go.
Yeah.
Well, I wish they had the original Teen Titan still going alongside it, but
Did you see the
Um,
crossover they did?
no.
They did the original animation with the new Kitty animation.
That'd be
People said it was a really good episode where it was like a cross-dimensional thing.
I'll
But yeah. There's also
like
a Teen Titan comic book though where it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
There's actually some graping in it, so it's rough.
What kind of grapes were they eating?
The unsolicited and non-consenting type.
So grapes that didn't want to get eaten.
Yes. Yeah.
I always get consent from my grapes to eat them.
Not me. I spit the pit.
I always ask, may I eat you?
Does it answer?
It does. They're usually like, yes, pick me, eat me.
You should tone it down on the mushrooms.
Maybe.
So if the grape doesn't say anything, you're just allowed to eat it?
No.
Nope.
If it doesn't say anything,
Oh.
I leave it be.
Oh.
But the ones that are like, pick me, eat me,
that usually
I eat
means
those
that the
ones.
grape has probably had too much to drink that night,
Yeah.
and you should just
Or it's
walk
just
it home.
sleeping.
Yeah. Ugh. That's a weird genre. We've been, a little bit all over the place.
Oklahoma drag queen principal in an elementary school resigned
Aw.
over huge backlash. And guess what he had a history of?
Pedophilia? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he got caught with kitty prawn
Hmm.
and was allowed to be a principal of an elementary school.
Where was this?
That's a little suspect.
I didn't write it down. Oh, Oklahoma.
So
How'd they not do a background check on him before allowing him to become
Well, they
principal
knew
of a
about it.
They
school?
probably did.
Yeah,
and they
of
allowed
course
it.
they knew about it.
Yeah.
There's
So-
no way you don't do a background check of somebody who wears drag to school. I don't know if they wore it to school.
Well, then
but-
that's
Well,
my
not even that.
my
But
next question would be why would you allow somebody
because they're corrupt.
to be a principal knowing
school
that that's
system
their
is-
history?
terribly corrupt and evil.
they probably didn't want to discriminate. Right?
It's not
Because-
discrimination.
Well, it's the same people that allow porn in the school libraries.
Yeah.
If you're a convicted child sex offender in any way where there was children
Is he
involved, you should not be around children at all. Period.
That's something we'd have to look into. Was he convicted, or was there like an active investigation that was then brought forward, which resulted in his resignation?
Didn't read that far. Well, he wasn't resigned because of that. It was a bunch of outcry because of who he was.
So he was a principal in an elementary school.
Yep.
And he showed up to school in drag?
Well, I don't know. I didn't read that far.
My guess would be everything was fine, right? He's just the principal, whatever. But if he started wearing drag to school, some of the parents probably started
maybe that's
digging
what-
in and then found this stuff out. That's probably what happened. Which
It's just mind blowing
Read a
if
little bit more
he
into
was
it.
convicted and then they still allowed him to become a principal. That's kind of mind boggling
yeah,
to me.
that means whoever hired him needs to be fired.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which would be the superintendent of the school district.
Yep. Probably the entire school board needs to be reformatted.
Now it is different if there was an active investigation and then they found some of this stuff out and then he resigned. That makes it a little different because then they
So-
didn't know upon
He
hiring.
was only there
him.
for 6 months. Shortly after he was hired, school district announced that it was aware of previous charges that were dismissed more than 20 years ago.
Previous charges dismissed. So he wasn't on a registry.
Yeah.
He wasn't convicted of anything. They were dismissed
And
charges.
Connected to alleged drag queen
From
activities by the
20 years
popular
ago,
TikTok.
That could have been something where it was like he was 18, she was 16. It could have been something like that.
Well, no, it
Dismissed
was,
charges
it was,
is very obscure.
It was like child prawn videos.
Oh.
Yeah, it had something to do with that.
So why would the charges? If he was charged
must have
with
had a damn
having
good lawyer.
possession of child material, why would the charges get dropped?
He must have had a damn good lawyer.
Or
Yeah,
something happened in the case where
Yeah,
his
I'm
lawyer was
guessing-
like, "You can't use any of this information because you got it illegally or something."
Yeah, child corn is no good. Definitely let your corn mature and become full adult.
That's Adam.
Yeah, I guess it was
speaking
just.
of, do you like Chinese corn? What they put in some of their foods?
Those little baby corns?
corns?
No. I like mature adult corn.
So that happened.
Yep.
Oh, have you seen any? You remember it was probably about a year ago now. The teacher that was wearing like the humongous fake breasts and everything. That was funny for a while.
that was pretty.
I guess
hilarious.
he decided to stop. Probably just wearing that shit was just.
Did he
annoying.
get fired?
Probably
I don't-
causing back
no.
problems lugging
Did he
all
get
that
fired?
around.
No, I don't think he got fired. I think he just stopped wearing them to school. He did it as like a, I'm going to show you how outrageous this is. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
probably after the school year ended, he was like, yo, this sucks. Wearing these things is ridiculous.
Back pain.
Yeah. I understand why he went with the humongous ones, but if he just would have went like with a decent C, maybe a D cup, then he would keep going with it.
Oh, it was in Canada. Yeah, of course we're not going to do anything.
More and more stuff. I keep seeing more and more videos of like people showing up to school board meetings with the material that they find in
Yeah,
their
yep.
schools, and then
And then they
the
start
school
reading it.
board's
They're
like,
well, that's not allowed.
you can't read that here.
Yeah.
Inappropriate.
It's in my school library.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't read it here. Bro, you're an adult and I'm like 13 years old. What do you mean I can't read it here? You're letting me read it in school. That's a
Yeah.
public setting. Like my 6-year-old brother can come in here and pick out a book and see a dildo in somebody's ass.
Well, I mean, it is high schools, but there are some books in elementary libraries that
Yeah.
are very questionable.
Yeah, I have a couple of them. Speaking of, is there any way you could ask Erica if I can get that other book back?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's
wow.
done reading it.
Okay.
I can bring it next week.
Yeah,
What was it? One of
I
those
think-
weirdo books?
It was Flamer, which is actually
She said it's not a bad story.
yeah, Flamer is actually it's not as bad as the other ones that I bought.
Okay.
Flamer is probably more appropriate for
Like-
parents to give to their children if they are concerned about predators. So, Flamer is a book that I would recommend to parents
Oh, okay.
for certain reasons. The other 3 books that I got, absolutely not. No way in hell I would ever tell anybody to let their child read those books. That's absurd. The things that are described in the other books that I have are grotesque.
Yeah, and they go into detail. Like,
explicit
detail.
detail. Like how to go onto a dating website as a child and put pictures of your genitalia on there as a child. What? That's a crime. Like, what? That's explicitly illegal. You can't do that. And you're telling kids how to do it in a book. That's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, I'll bring those books in sometime. That is definitely a topic I think we should get into one of these times. I just don't know if we're ready for such a serious conversation. It would be nice to have a guest for that conversation, but I don't know anybody that would be willing. There's a lot of people that just
That can
don't
at
wanna
least
talk.
that can at least have a level-headed conversation about it.
Yeah.
Well,
I do still wanna
who would
bring,
want to defend that? Like,
there
it's
are people that do.
yeah, but who would want to be on video defending that for people to see?
There's plenty of people out there that would.
Lance from the Surfs, the guy who was like, "What about meth?" That guy.
Yeah,
And-
that guy's an idiot.
There was the other woman from the Minority Report who was like,
Oh,
"Why do you think you
she was there to be
attract so many?"
she was there to be a troll.
yeah, she was there to be a. I thought the conversation was going to go good. It didn't.
That's what I thought.
And then I thought Chenks was going to be good because like 15 minutes in, I'm like, oh, wow, he's not freaking out. And then he started freaking out. And I'm like, This is why I can't listen to you, man.
Wait, he was
Cenk
on Timcast?
Uygur. Yeah, he was on Timcast. He was on
When?
one of the Culture War episodes.
Oh, I don't watch
It
the
was
Culture
when
War.
after Cenk announced that he was running for president,
Oh, okay.
Tim was like, come on and promote yourself. And then 20, 30 minutes in, he started splitting his cap about stuff. And I'm like, bro, this is why I cannot listen to you. Everything is nothing but emotional manipulation where you're trying to blackmail us into believing that we're absolute psychotic Nazis
Yeah,
if
that's
we don't
their-
believe your insane rhetoric.
That's their best tactic, is to try to manipulate you emotionally and gaslight you into thinking you're a bad person for not thinking the way they
I'll
do.
be on your side if you just do things logically. Stop telling me that I'm a Nazi for not wanting kids to be twerked on.
I think that's one of the
That's
things.
it.
I think that's one of the things I like about Destiny. Destiny does a really good job debating and keeping a level head for the most part, and he doesn't fall into that emotional manipulation and gaslighting so much.
Yeah,
But
he does. Okay.
Yeah, Destiny is a good debater, and I
Mhm.
like his style. He is very logical about everything, but I do believe he does a lot of linguistic manipulation when he's debating people.
Linguistic gymnastics.
Yeah, he will definitely manipulate because he's a fast talker, kind of like Ben
Mhm.
Shapiro, and he will give a lot of fallacies, and he does it so quickly and logically that it throws people off. That's how he wins.
I got to finish that debate with him and Ben.
I watched probably 40 minutes of it. It's primarily about Israel and Palestine.
That was really recent, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's pretty good. Neither of them get like really heated about it, but it was good to finally actually see the two of them sit down because they're both law graduates. You know, they're highly intelligent, both of them, and
Is that throwing fists?
fast speakers. So it was Lex Friedman. I think it was on Lex Friedman's podcast.
Yeah, Lex
so,
hosted it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's good conversation. Good conversation.
Well, I'll
but
check
I
that one
mean,
out.
even now, Destiny's been the omniliberal or like a left-leaning person for years, but because he holds logical beliefs and like a foundation onto what everything he believes in. Now Destiny's basically a Nazi, a far-right extremist. It's all you got left is Cenk and his nephew Hassan. What do you
Oh,
got, bro?
I can't
like,
listen.
who do you got?
I can't listen to Hassan. He gives
I
me a
can't
headache.
either.
The issue is the center of the wing has moved so far to the left that most people that were left leaning but still somewhat closer to the center are now right or even far right because that line has moved
What are
so
these
much.
wings of? What's in the middle? What is the animal that these
The
wings are
backbone of
attached
the
to?
bird.
You said a bat?
The backbone of the bird.
Oh, a bird. What kind of bird?
Yeah. The bird that just shits on everybody.
You've never I think I've seen a photo, but it's so it's like an elephant's body with wings, and then it just has a donkey's head on one side, elephant's head on another, and then I don't know.
I mean, well, that just represents all the parties' animal mascot.
Yeah. I don't think the political calculator or right wing, left wing is really accurate because there are so many in betweens.
Yeah.
Like libertarian, like liberal and libertarian just cover such a huge swath of the center. And then you've got a little bit further left Democrat and then authoritarian progressives and things like that, as to where the right you get a little bit more libertarian right and then a little bit of authoritarian, and then you get white nationalist Nazis.
So
Nazi
it's
all
like
the way
to the right.
To think that somebody just says, hey, my children don't need to be talked to like this, and I don't want them to see naked people in a parade. You're a fascist Nazi.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. Quit.
At that point, I'm just going to start accepting it. Like, okay, cool.
Quit
Yeah,
denying.
I'm a
that's what it-
fascist
yeah, if
Nazi.
that's what it is,
So you
then
know
so
what?
be
I'm
it.
just going to start seeking out fascist Nazi groups online, and then I'm going to join them. How
Quit
about that?
denying your child the right to see a naked adult.
Not for real though.
Yeah, never.
Not for real.
I wouldn't actually, but it's one of those things where when you call somebody something or they get called something so many times out of like pure anger from somebody else, you push them into that. So do you want to keep calling people with modest opinions all these absurd names to where you actually push them into that? Do you really want a very large swath of the population to become authoritarian right? Is that what you're looking for? Because that's what you're doing. That's not going to end well.
Maybe they should just stop being fascists.
They should.
If you have an opinion,
people should
you're
stop
fascist.
being fascist.
If you have an opinion, you're fascist. Period.
Well, if you've got an opinion that they don't like.
Yeah, that differs from theirs.
Fascism itself is just a huge. I mean, there's fascist leftists as well.
What if your opinions are even more left than theirs? So far left that
I'm on Twitter quite a bit,
That would be
and
fun.
I don't think you can get much further left than like Maoist tankies. These people are psychotic, bro. I've talked to some of these people. Holy shit! I didn't think people had views like this.
It's like talking to people in a cult.
Yeah, actually. Like people that straight up say, yes, I will take everything you own by force in a tank and murder you if you don't do what we say.
Yeah.
If
I'm
you
like,
disagree with them, they'll shame you, they'll shun you, they'll push you out of their group if all of a sudden your views change because you come across information.
I think that's people's way of coping, honestly, with like...
It's that tribalistic groupthink.
I think first reactions aren't really tribalistic, but it's like their opinion of you is shattered to where they have a knee-jerk reaction. After time, things might change, but
Well, the tribalistic groupthink is just how they all huddle together and cling on to these same ideas so they can all identify with those ideas and be in that group. And if you question any of those ideas, it's almost like a direct attack on their ego. So they take it personally, and that's where they start the shaming, shunning you from the friends group for even questioning something that they think or believe in.
I'm sure it happens on both sides too. I'm sure there's
I'm probably sure some of
conservative groups
the
that do
heavy
same
Trump
thing.
supporters that think Trump can do no wrong and that think he's prophesized in the Bible to come save the world. They're also just as wacky.
Yeah. Or the people that are like, it was very strange when Trump vaguely said, "Oh, I'll be a dictator for a day," and it was like, ugh. But then a lot of people
Bad
were like,
wording.
yeah, a lot of people were like, I'd be fine with that.
Also
are you
a terrible
sure?
thing to say.
Yeah, I don't think you should be
Well-
okay with that.
Well, no, I mean, I get it. If
I get it too, but to say that you agree with somebody being a dictator, even for a day, it's like
Well,
you
it-
don't see.
it depends
where
on what
that
they
would
do.
lead.
If that was your
If
plan,
it's
just come
just
out and
to-
do it without
regardless
telling
of
anybody.
what everyone else says, all you lefties and even some people on the right, you're all going to prison.
Cable.
You're all going to prison.
See, with my boing. Yeah, it's tough.
It's
all
loud.
going to prison, and I'm going to enforce it, regardless of what anybody says. I could see that.
They still
Why?
deserve their rights
No.
to a fair trial,
No,
but the
'Cause they don't
investigations can't be hindered.
nah.
You don't
They
think? So you're a little bit more authoritarian.
are. If our
I'm not saying like you're
No,
a fascist or authoritarian,
Yeah,
but
if-
you're a little bit more on the authoritarian side.
Yes,
Yeah.
a trial makes sense if there's some leeway on whether or not they did it. But if it's blatant and there's proof and it's everywhere, you did this thing. What is the point of a trial? A trial is to
Give an
try to
example
prove
to
your
see
innocence.
yeah.
Give an
But if the-
example to see if I agree.
If the police walked in on
Well,
you murdering me
Biden-
right now and they actually saw you stabbing me with the knife, I feel like at that point there's no need for trial. They're watching it.
Yeah.
They're watching you just commit murder.
Like the entire Biden crime family that
Yeah.
has admitted and got caught on video, and there's no need for a trial.
even though there won't be a need for a trial, if you start letting exceptions slide,
It's the
it's
slippery
slippery
slope idea.
where it will be abused further down the road. So even though if an officer were to walk in here and watch me murdering you, I still deserve the trial. That way, that system is held up.
Mhm.
Otherwise, if that's an example as to when a trial is not necessary,
there would still
then-
need to be as long if they had video evidence, if they had you admitting that you did it, there is no point.
Still procedurally, you'd still have to go in front of a judge.
All
say,
it does is drag down the already lazy court system. I mean, it takes people years to get court dates.
There's a reason why
there shouldn't be.
But there's a reason why we have these procedures. It's so that a standard is kept.
Yeah, well, the standard it should be changed. There's no point.
I don't disagree with that, but a standard, even if it's not perfect, a standard does need to be held. Otherwise, it gets too flimsy and exceptions start being made.
Because if everyone could just vote
ridiculous things,
instead of a trial, you just get a committee they overlook the evidence and then
a jury.
Well, instead of going for days in the court process, they just be like, "Yep, he did it. Okay, jail, or whatever sentence,
straight to jail."
Because the way not only is the court system rigged and in a joke, it's too lengthy. It's ridiculous that you have people sitting in jail for 3-4 years.
I think it's made that way for something like that. Like, there's no reason why you should.
No, you're supposed to get a speedy trial.
Yeah.
That's how the founding fathers wanted it. You're supposed to be able to get a fair and speedy trial.
Yeah. We get fair trials now, just not speedy.
Fair if you're on the left.
So I get where you're coming from, but now with the advancements with AI, like if I made a incredibly convincing video, right, and brought it to the police and said, "Look, you're watching this person commit a crime."
Well, with video now, video is not going to be solid evidence without having an expert on videography come in and be able to.
And that's why a trial would be necessary. So even if police walked in here right now and they all had body cameras, right, and they were watching me commit a crime, sure, they can say we witnessed it, but the only evidence they have of witnessing it is the cameras.
Yeah,
that could be all.
I guess in today's day and age with AI, I guess there has to be a need for it.
There has to be some kind of system
that, if AI wasn't a thing, there's no need.
Yeah. But look at back in the 80s and 90s when body cameras weren't really a thing. We hear all of these crazy stories of how if this was not caught on camera, police would have basically gotten away with murder or mugging people, So I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I believe our judicial system and everything is it's become very muddy and not so effective. Like with the trial here in New York against Donald Trump. Sometimes the justice system works. Like, I praise Kyle Rittenhouse and the trial that happened with him. I think that was a fair ruling with all the evidence given. Here in New York, Donald Trump's liability cases with E. Jean Carroll, I think that's a joke.
Oh, absolutely.
So I would be called a hypocrite for that. And I'm like, I can explain why I'm not, because Kyle Rittenhouse, the entire thing was caught on video, and he was given a fair trial with his peers for a criminal case. Yeah. The cases against Donald Trump by E. Jean Carroll, those weren't criminal. They weren't criminal, for one. He was denied the right to give evidence.
Yeah.
He was denied so many different things, and it wasn't a criminal trial, so there wasn't as heavy of a burden of proof. She basically said, yes, this happened, and then a jury said, yeah, we believe her, without any evidence.
Yeah, that should have been.
That's kind of an example.
It should have been thrown out.
Should have been. We believe so. Should have been. Maybe she's telling the truth, but it doesn't seem like she was. She didn't seem sincere. Plus, when she had an interview where she made jokes about grape, she doesn't seem sincere about it. And it just came out like this happened in the early 90s, she said. She doesn't remember the day, the year, the time. They were in a department store. You were in a department store with the most famous man in New York City, and nobody saw you go in.
Yeah.
Nobody saw the two of you enter. Nobody saw you enter the changing room, and you said he felt you up a little bit.
Well, she's a woman. We have to believe her.
That died very quickly, though, didn't it? The Me Too movement, that kind of died very fast.
Especially after the Amber Heard thing. with her claiming that Johnny Depp was
Mhm.
assaulting her, and it's like, oh, see, maybe we shouldn't just believe all women because everybody lies.
Yeah, because in the U.S.,
it was dying before then.
You can
though, but-
sue a ham sandwich for any reason.
Yeah, you could.
It has to be.
What's the point, though? You're not going to get any money from a ham sandwich.
It's just
You
the
could
point.
have the right to eat the ham
It's
sandwich.
the point that you can.
Yeah.
Which is
wild.
you can sue anybody over anything, and they have to go to court.
Yeah.
It's.
Kinda get
Our
it,
system
but-
needs to be overhauled.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you should not be able to sue anybody for anything.
Oh, have you guys ever seen it's hard to look up shorts sometimes, but this
Yeah,
guy
I don't know
has-
how to.
Yeah. This
You
guy
just type in shorts after whatever you're looking for.
Mhm.
Just put the word shorts.
this guy asked a question. If you could add any single amendment to the Constitution, what would you add? And then it quickly snaps to this other guy, and he's like, it's a very technical terms, and I think he did it perfectly, but basically where you as an individual, as an employee of the state, the United States, in any capacity, whether a congressman, senator, anything like that, you cannot grossly gain wealth. And
Oh, yeah.
you're limited
You shouldn't
to
be
how
able
long you
to-
can be in office.
Yeah,
it was very, very well done.
Yeah, you or family you have shouldn't be in the stock market at all.
Yeah, you have no rights to be in the stock markets. You can't give money to organizations that fund different stuff.
Yeah.
Your job is to the public, and that is it. You have no right to gain wealth while you work for the government.
Someone like Nancy Pelosi, who seems to be one of the best stock traders of all time.
The best in the world,
Yeah.
actually.
You want
her
to get
track record
rich?
was
in the
insane.
world.
You want to
Yeah.
get rich? Just follow her portfolio. See what she's buying, when she's buying it, and see
If
what
you
she's
have the
selling when
money
she's
to do
selling it.
so.
I mean,
Yeah, because a
even
lot of those stocks are thousands a piece.
But when you've been, when you've been in politics for 40, 50 years,
Yeah.
and you have a little bit of wealth behind you and you start knowing people, you can just be like, hey,
Yeah.
I'll help you out. Just give me 10 of these stocks, and then boom, and then you sell those and you get the money's worth, and then you keep circling it around. No, I think we're in not the late stages, but we're probably in the middle, heading to the late stages of the fall of a republic. I think we're
well,
close
the
to
average
it.
age of an empire is 250 years. We're coming right up on that.
Yeah. I think we just passed the threshold. But yeah, no, like the way everything is speeding up so exponentially quick. I believe we were all taught in school that our government was created a way to keep checks and balances and that blah, blah, blah.
Everything's out of balance.
Did you guys just assume because the way our system was created meant that nobody would ever pervert it? Not as a naive child?
No, my immediate thought was if the executive branch can do whatever they want whenever they want, what is the point of having three branches? Because if the president says, I'm going to do this and put it as an executive order,
As a
there's-
child, when you first started
Yeah.
learning about the U.S. government?
Yeah.
Okay. So
or shortly after.
I was very naive, and I believed that because the way our government is structured, that means nobody would try to pervert it.
Yeah.
So I was a very naive child in that way. What about you, Adam?
It wasn't until I was like 20 years old that I really started realizing how corrupt our government and everything was. I was kind of under the same idea that, oh, okay, we've got a good system here to keep our government in check. And then, after I get out of high school and I actually start learning more about the world as I'm in the Marine Corps, I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's some shit that's out of whack here.
It is a good system in practice and theory. The only problem is enough
Corruption.
people have gone through the system to find loopholes and ways to
Yeah,
pervert it.
It's getting people in the system that have good intentions.
Yeah.
Most don't.
And the problem is typically you need a very terrible generation for somebody truly unique to step up and say, this is all gone wrong. If we don't stop now, it's done for. Which I don't want to see happen. Like, I know there are a lot of people who, at least say it online, whether or not they're true or even if they're American, there are a lot of people that truly do want America to fall as a nation, and they want it to go through a destructive period, which will end in a lot of people dead.
Mhm.
I don't think destroying what we have to try to bring in something new is really the right way, but radical reform needs to happen.
Yeah.
For sure. Radical reform.
Yeah, which is Vivek was saying, fire half the government day one or something like that,
Yeah.
and then slowly get rid of the people that you don't need.
Yeah. I think even firing half first day would be catastrophic to not to the country itself.
Yeah, because
but
they wouldn't do
economically.
anything. But yes, the
Economically.
people that you
that
fire.
many people out of work,
Yeah.
that would be, we would be in a depression in like 3 months. Like,
No,
you don't think?
no, that'd only be what, tens of thousands, less, 100,000 maybe.
The
They
United States' largest employer is Walmart, and right after that is the United States government, isn't it? So
Probably.
if you fire half of that, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people off of the market to
Yeah, I mean,
keep money flowing.
Is he talking just half the federal government?
just yeah,
Govern-
half of government jobs
Okay.
are unneeded. It's a waste of money.
I did like his way of doing it, though, how it would be non-discriminatory, where he basically said you go like alphabetical order and you do like every third name or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Non-discriminatory. You just go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah. But
Yeah,
no,
he's a smart dude.
he is.
Ugh.
I'm still weary about him because of his history with like pharmaceutical industries and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, just because you own a pharmaceutical company doesn't make you bad.
Right. No, he could be a good guy, but he is very charismatic, which of course I love. He's a very handsome man as
Yeah.
well. He's very smart and he says all the right things, but so did Barack Obama. And there has been
He
evidence.
stole some of Obama's speeches.
Yeah, where it makes it kind of feel like he's just like
That is
he
true.
might be playing us.
Playing the same strategy
yeah,
Obama
he might
played.
be playing us.
Yeah,
So
that is very true.
wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing. You never know. You know, that's one of the things. But one thing I do love to say, not to brag or definitely say we told you so kind of thing, but how did the lesser of two evils work out for you people that voted for Joe Biden? Because we had a guy that started No New World, No New Wars, had the Abraham Accords, and was conducting peace policies with almost every country on the planet, while the new guy, who was supposed to be lesser of two evils,
And
is
$1.30
about
gas.
to draw us into World War III. Like, we're on the brink.
Yeah, what
right now.
today? What, I don't know if they
The Houthi rebels from Iran?
yeah.
Yeah,
Did-
where we're conducting military actions
Yeah, yep.
without formally declaring war. Like, what?
Yeah,
What?
Iran is a place that needs to be deconstructed, but
Deconstructed how?
like just get rid of Iran because most of the terroristic activity stems from
Even
them.
if
But
even if you can even if you deconstruct Iran, you're not going to
well, no,
eliminate the views of the people that live there.
well, no, of course not. But the Iranian government and the
Oh, how
just
they
the-
facilitate
the-
a lot of stuff.
yeah, the core of Iran needs to be
Yeah.
squashed. But with Russia being their ally and that most of the bad people in the world being their ally,
Yeah.
you can't just attack them.
And that friendship basically goes back to the Russian-Afghani war. You know, they were staging basically everything out of Iran to invade Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very weird that like 15 years after Russia retreats from Afghanistan, we then try to go in and do the same thing to them. It's bonkers. Now for the next people that try to go in there, instead of, you know, people in Afghanistan having AKs, they're going to have pretty M4s and night vision goggles. Oh boy. Oh boy.
And
Very
on that
quiet,
note, we
Adam.
can kind of wrap it up.
Oh yeah?
Up on the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
Oh really? Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Oh. What, 1/4 of that was trashing on Domino's wings?
Yeah,
I don't know about that long.
It was probably 15 minutes.
probably.
They are pretty trash.
They are.
Yeah. We should
We can make them good, but they aren't good.
Well, you can make anything good.
Yeah, you can make Spam delicious, but
There's probably a way to cook a turd to where you'd be like,
to at least a dog would eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. Outro. I'll touch the table.
Be
Well,
careful touching the microphone too. That makes a lot of noise.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cut your hands off.
Yeah, just cut my hands off. That was a good episode. A lot about trashing politics. Our
Proving
government.
water is in fact wet. That was good.
It's not though.
I'm gonna go ahead and slide into my cognitive dissonance and say yes, it is.
Yeah, but government bad. I think everybody realizes that by now. With Biden's approval rating being 26, and like 60% of Dems don't like him, 70% of Dems.
I bet he still gets 90% of the mail-in ballots, though. I bet it. I bet it does.
Do you think they're gonna try to push for mail-in voting again, or do you think
Absolutely.
they're gonna try?
None of the laws have changed.
Do you?
It
is getting kind of late.
Laws, yeah, all of the laws still stand
So
from COVID.
They're gonna cheat again. But thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. For the people that do, tell your friends about us, your family, your dog, your cat, anybody with a willing ear.
We got a cat too. So.
Yeah, when she gets a little less rowdy, we'll have her on camera more. Well, she came in once.
Yeah.
And I showed her off. She's so cute. But on that note, goodbye.
Fuck out of here.
Sultry fucks.